Folks, welcome back. We are live. Nice Friday afternoon live. Figured we'd chat, hang out, talk some Pokemon, talk some markets. As everybody knows, the markets are in turmoil right now. We're having intense down days followed by intense up days. The volatility is at an all-time high. I'm just going to give you my take on what I see happening. My take on, any kind of strategies you can use and things that, I guess I wouldn't do myself. As always, guys, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Always seek licensed financial help if you are making any major decisions with your money. You are literally on a channel about Pokemon cards and Pokemon investing, listening to a guy that just does it himself and tells you what he does and his thoughts on things. None of this should be taken any more than entertainment. So let's start out with, obviously, the precious metals markets were probably the first thing that went crazy, right? Where silver ran up, 100 and something percent. And, it got to the point where some places stopped even taking silver and they were worried about being able to sell themselves. And then people were, offering way under spot price, and then eventually led to this big collapse in price. It's still trending down now. It had a 30% drop in a single day, and now it's still trending down. Silver's now in the 70s. It was up to like $100 or more an ounce. Gold's, we're correcting too, and it's not as drastic as silver is. And then now followed with the crypto, right? Crypto and obviously the stock market kind of had a major downturn the same day. Now, the indexes aren't really affected, right? And it's the same thing when things go up, right? The indexes don't ever share in the major upside. Well, the indexes aren't sharing in the major downside. I mean, what is the S&P and Dow and NASDAQ down maybe 2-3% overall for the indexes? Like, it's not crazy, right? But there's some companies that are getting hit massively. If you look at like Robinhood stock trading platform, they're down like 50%, right? If you look at like Palantir, right? Palantir is like, almost 30-40% off its highs. If you look at some of the other, tech AI type companies, they're getting crushed. Amazon just came out and, announced some news, and now they're taking a major downturn. And so the NASDAQ companies, the tech industry, which unfortunately is now a good portion of the S&P 500, they're definitely taking it. Today is a bit of recovery, but crypto really getting crushed. Bitcoin is crashing. Anytime you have 50% drop, you got to call it a crash. It's having a bit of a recovery today. Some people are saying it could be a dead cat bounce. Some people are saying the 60K could be the bottom. I don't know what the bottom, or if it's a dead cat bounce, or if it's, if you want my opinion on it, I believe it's at least going to retest the 60 level. Usually when things recover, it doesn't immediately V-shaped recovery right back up. Sometimes it does, but a lot of times it's going to have to at least test that low again. And if it can hold that low, it'll probably, kind of set that as the new low, and then probably trend up from there. It's likely we're going to see another sell-off, in my opinion. We'll see though. We'll see. Maybe it just completely recovers, V-shaped recovery, no, nothing else. But XRP was down to like in the 1-teens, Ethereum under $2,000. So anyone in crypto is definitely feeling it. Now, one of the reasons the sell-offs on the stock and the cryptos are intensified so hard is one word: leverage. That's all it is. It's leverage. So if you guys aren't familiar with leverage, everyone knows, yeah, Alex is, you're obviously taking bets again, so you're going into debt, whatever, using credit. Here's the problem with leverage. A lot of trading institutions, especially if you open a margin account and you have a certain amount of money in there, they'll let you leverage anything from 2 times up to like 5 times your money. Meaning, if you have 50 grand, they'll let you trade and buy up to like 250 grand on the high end. So anywhere between 100 to 250 grand is what you can actually use. Here's the problem with leverage. If you have say you have 25 grand, all right, and you wanted to buy a full Bitcoin when it was 100,000. So you leverage yourself 3x, which these platforms will allow you to do. So now you bought a full $100,000 Bitcoin, but you only have 25 grand. When that Bitcoin falls to say 80, they're going to send you a message saying, hey, listen, you're going to get margin called. You got to add more cash, or we are going to force sell your position. We're going to close out your position to protect our interest. a lot of these people, they don't have cash, right? They're leveraged, so they don't even have the real money to actually buy the Bitcoin. They're leveraged up 3x on it. So like, well, I don't have any cash. I don't actually have any money. I'm just taking ridiculous bets. And so they don't put any money, up. And so then it trends down more, and the platform goes, okay, you're closed out. And it sells your position for you, which, by the way, is 100% legal. You sign the forms when you sign up for a margin account that they have the rights to sell out your positions for you, whether you want to or not. And so people are getting margin called. They're getting all their loans are getting called. They're getting closed out of their positions against their will, which is causing the crash to intensify. Nobody has any freaking money, because everybody's freaking leveraged and on credit cards and, wants to be big baller shot caller, but doesn't want to, get rich long way. Nobody wants to get rich slow. They all want to get rich quick. They want to take ridiculous bets. And this is the outcome. This is the fallout. This is what happens when people do that. And now you're not seeing everyone brag online about, how much money they're making and this or that. Now everybody's real quiet, really quiet. So what's this mean for Pokemon? What's this mean for Pokemon? Before, for the last, I don't know, years, people have thought that Pokemon was directly related with crypto. Everybody would place crypto on top of Pokemon charts. They say, look, every time crypto runs, right? Every time crypto runs, Pokemon runs. Every time crypto falls, Pokemon falls. And so a lot of people believe they were completely correlated. I think now people are finally realizing they were just probably coincidences in the runs, because you're seeing now they're not correlated. We're not seeing drops in the Pokemon market anywhere right now. We saw drops back last year in like October, November, 10 to 30%, which most have all recovered by now. We're not seeing any signs of slowdowns. You can look at the sales volume. Sales volume is fine. Look at the prices on the market. Prices of the markets are fine. New sets are selling well. And so at very least, we can say the two are not 100% correlated anymore. What does this mean for Pokemon? Honestly, this is my personal thoughts again. It's my personal thought that crypto was kind of the safe haven for people that did not like centralized markets, right? They love decentralization. They like the fact no one having their hands in their money. The fact that crypto has continued to get bought even more and more by, big time, hedge funds, companies, governments, US government, it's, more and more regulations, tax laws are starting to get written around it. That could also be turning some people away. I'm not saying it's the reason for the crash, but they crave markets that are not regulated. And because crypto is starting to get more and more regulated, that could be another thing that's turning people off to it. And what is not regulated? TCGs, cardboard, collectibles, which is another reason why a lot more money is flocking to collectibles, not just Pokemon, sports cards, right? With the Kevin O'Learys of the world. More and more of these collectibles trades because of the deregulation, because of being able to go to card shows and transact without all these, this regulation on top of you. And so that is another reason why there's so much popularity in these TCGs and collectible worlds, is because it's one of the last few remaining places you can go to and transact without all these government regulation around you. And so that could basically be one of the reasons. Obviously, a lot of the tech companies are it's having spillover because of, people think the AI bubble is popping, which I don't think that's what it is. I think stocks ran up way too far because of the AI kind of what people think AI is going to do to come, which it could very well could, but I think it was just a little over escalated right now. People are getting a little too crazy on the gains, again, a little too much leverage. And I think a lot of that is kind of now coming down. People are maybe getting closed out of positions, maybe just closing out positions themselves because they're getting scared. Obviously, some things are happening, like obviously the Robinhood, the Coinbase, the Bitcoin miners, all those are going to be just completely tied basically to the crypto fall. So overall, the fact that everything's bouncing back today, everything's kind of regulating. I really don't think the falls are over. I think we're going to continue to see more down days next week, but I truly don't think it's going to spill over to Pokemon. And of course, I already know all the comments, all the chats in here is going to say, of course you're going to say that, Alex, because you own so much Pokemon. I know. And hey, maybe I'll be wrong. We'll see what happens. But The fact that Pokemon is holding up and still rising in the midst of all this chaos, I think it only builds the confidence. It only builds my confidence, right? If I'm looking right now, and I'm saying, yeah, Bitcoin is a deal. It's on sale. A lot of these companies on Wall Street are on sale. But then I look at the average gains. I'm like, even with some of this stuff being on sale, I still think I'm better off in Pokemon. And I could be crazy, right? Let's say I've just gotten extremely lucky for 10 years straight. It's a possibility. Maybe, I'm just a dumb bull who's experienced 10 years of dumb luck, and all that luck is about to run out. And we're going to be looking back in a few years saying you should have sold everything that you got lucky on. You should have threw it all in the S&P or Bitcoin. That was the smart move. Maybe. But I'm willing to live with being wrong about that. I'm not willing to live with the fact of having all the same convictions and having all the data to back it up to sell out of my Pokemon to put in other things just because they seem like they're on sale or they seem like a good deal. Now, a lot of people out there are very for diversifying. I don't really know any majorly wealthy people that diversify, especially on their way up. If you look at most every person who became very wealthy, they do the opposite. They don't diversify. Warren Buffett didn't diversify. He actually warned against diversifying. He said it's only for people who are ignorant to investing. Elon Musk doesn't diversify. He owns his companies. He owns stock in his own companies. He bets all on himself, right? People like Grant Cardone in real estate. He doesn't diversify. He's all in on real estate, right? The list goes on and on. Like Jeff Bezos, all in his own company, owned all Amazon stock. It's like the richest people in the world that become wealthiest, they do it because they go all in, they bet on themselves, or they bet on a strategic amount of plays that they fully understand and fully believe in. In my opinion, diversification is for safety. It's a safety net for people who already have wealth to protect their wealth, to make sure it doesn't go anywhere and they can continue to pay them dividends and live on, right? Or it's for people who just literally don't know anything about investing, are freaked out about the whole thing, and they just say, you know what? I'm willing to work 40 more years of my life. I don't care. I just want to put my 401k. I want it to build over time, and I don't need to get there quickly. And that's fine too. But for me, maybe it's at fault. I truly believe that I have a good handle on the Pokemon market. I think I understand where it's going. I think I understand what runs it. I think I understand all of the different metrics that make it up. And that's where I feel more comfortable placing my bets. And so that's where I'm going to continue to place my bets. If equities and Bitcoin and some of these things get to levels that I think is completely overcorrected, I may start to diversify if I think I can, do better in those than Pokemon in the same time frame. But as of right now, if you want to know what I'm doing right this very second, business as usual. All the money is still being reinvested right back in the business or right back in Pokemon inventory and investments. Nothing has changed based on the current market movements. I also want to touch on one thing before I take any questions. I want to warn against selling your winners to pay for your losers. I think a lot of people make this mistake is they have something perform well, and then they want to sell that and take those profits to put it in something that's not performing well. So, you buy something, it goes up 100, 200%. You buy something else, it's down 50%. Your thought process is, well, I'm going to take my profits on the thing that's up 200%. I'm going to put it all on the thing that's down 50%. Then when it recovers, I'll be good. Problem is, there's a reason those things are down 50%, or there's a reason that Pokemon product hasn't moved in 2, 3, 4 years, right? And it doesn't always mean it's time's coming. Sometimes it just means it's not really going to perform as well as other things. And so I would rather continue to double down on my winners, which again, everything I talked about in these videos, guys, I do myself. I put my money where my mouth is. What did I do when things dropped 10, 30% last year? I doubled down. I bought more Evolving Skies, more Fusion Strike, right? When, Paldean Fates had a correction recently because of the restocks of the collection boxes and reprints of booster bundle displays in Canada or whatever, I doubled down. I loaded up heavy on Paldean Fates. Like, I would rather double down on deals on Pokemon, on the good sets, on the winners, than I would like go, oh, well, I'll just take all this 151 profit and throw it all into battle styles, right? Or I'll go take, all this profit I made on these good sets, put it in these bad sets. I'm not about that. And I'm not about selling off Pokemon that's been performing well and putting it into Bitcoin because you're down on Bitcoin, right? Like I'm not a fan of that. I'm a fan of keeping your winners. And maybe if your losers are losing, it's probably for a reason. And if you don't believe in the same way you used to, maybe just sell off your losers, right? Just obviously take the loss, right? Move on and allow the winners to continue to make you more, because the odds are if the losers start performing well, how good are the winners performing, right? How good would you have done with that money and the other thing? That other thing probably went up another 200% by the time the losers got back to even or got back up 50, 60, 70, 80, 100%. And so that's how I structure everything I do. I always make decisions based on, you guys know it, the data. Data's the data type thing. I base it on what I continue to see for the future. I don't base it on day-to-day price action. I don't base it on, price is lower today than yesterday, therefore it's a deal, right? What makes it a deal? Well, it's cheaper than it was. I mean, that's good. You're not buying the high. It's always good not to buy the highs. But at the same time, what makes it a deal, right? If a stock goes from $10 to $100, but corrects to 70, does that mean it's a deal? Or is it still overvalued by 30 points? I don't know. Just because it's cheaper, guys, just because things are cheaper than they were does not mean it's 100% always a buy. So just be careful with that one. But that is kind of my thoughts with what's going on in the market. It hasn't changed my mind or my plans at all or what I'm doing. You guys come here for my opinions and what I'm doing. That's them. Please leave your guys' comments and questions. I'll go ahead and take them. I'll give you my thoughts on them, and we'll see what we do. But we're just here, man. We're here hanging out on Friday. That's what we're here to do. Let's have a good time. Jorge, appreciate you, man. Thanks so much for the super chat, dude. Bitcoin is under 70K, but I'm gonna wait. I am gonna wait. I personally do not think we're anywhere near the bottom. If it does retrace and test the 60K range again and kind of stabilize there, I might consider it, but it's too early. I don't buy into crazy price action back and forth. There's a lot of day traders right now that'll make a ton of money, and more power to them. I'm just not in the business of trying to day trade and price time things. It's just not what I do. So that's my take on it, man. Appreciate the super chat, dude. Let's see. I made a video a few years back, my strategy to buy 6 booster boxes, keep 2. Do you think the strategy still works today? And is it relevant at these prices at release? Thanks, bro. You're the go. Appreciate you, dude. Thanks, Johnny. Absolutely, it's relevant. The time frame may have changed, right? It may take a little more time if you're starting out at 200 or 225 a box for it to get to, 450, 500 a box. But yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a box in Scarlet Violet right now that will not be a $500 box at least in the next 3 to 5 years. That's just my opinion. And Evolving Skies, even though it's overpriced, even though I think there will probably be a time where you can get it cheaper, I'm sure it'll probably, do the same thing. If you bought 6 of those boxes right now, in 5 years, you could sell off 4 of them or 2 of them, or whatever, and you'd be fine. Like that's still my belief. But again, that's my opinion. My opinion, baby. Yeah, Dow hit 50,000. So guys, here's what you have to understand. If you're looking at the stock market, the Dow does not contain all of the components of the S&P 500. Like, a lot of the S&P is unfortunately made up of tech stocks that are very heavy in the AI trade now. And they're going to trade a lot different than like those old school blue chip type companies that, produce, all the, age old, things. So we're in a changing market. We're in an ever changing market. And, the S&P, the S&P is a lot different now. It's really top heavy with tech, right? It's not as much of like the old school blue chips type stuff that's running it. The companies like of the old, like that our parents and grandparents remembered, right? It's a lot of these, new age companies that came about in, the tech boom in 2000, and really became, the staples of how everything runs today, right? It's the chip makers, it's the Amazons, it's the Metas, it's the it's all those types of companies that are all really tech focused, right? And they all really kind of live and die right now in terms of trading based on like the AI sentiment at the moment. And so yeah, I mean, Dow can do a lot of different things. I mean, there's a lot of times where the Dow's up and the Nasdaq's down, or the S&P's down. So yeah. So true. Financial advice from decades of experience selling sealed Pokemon is always followed by, I wish I didn't sell and would have bought more. Every time. I've never heard anyone say different. I've never heard one person say, I wish I didn't buy Pokemon, or I wish I didn't hold so long. It's never happened. It's never happened in the history of this hobby. Crazy. Pretty crazy. Was paying no attention to other markets, just know my Pokemon investments have gone up higher than what they were pre-draft. Yeah, and this is the funny part too. It's just like all you ever hear is how risky Pokemon is. In the past 4 years now, we've had one drop of a 10 to 30% in the last, three months ago. And that was seen as a market crash. Everyone was freaking out. And then the stock market, you'll have stocks drop 30%, 50%. You'll have Bitcoin drop 50%, XRP drop, 75%. And everyone's like, it's okay, just hold, just buy more. It's just like, you literally have in front of your eyes other investors. You have silver dropping 30% in a day. You have all these other indices, right? All showing they are more volatile than Pokemon is. And still you have people saying, Pokemon's still more risky, man. Everything's down. Pokemon's up higher than it's ever been. And our Pokemon portfolios are doing great. Everyone's still trying to convince me how risky Pokemon is, how bad it is. It's like, dude, I don't have time for the stupidity anymore. If that's your opinion, then run along, do your thing. We'll see you. We'll be on the beach while you're still, toiling away, trying to worry about that you think this is too risky. I can't help people anymore. I just can't. Even as longtime NM viewer, I was shocked how early you made the call that Zard UPC Costco drop wasn't moving the price. But yet again, you were right. What made you make the call that early? Just demand? It was really the phantasmal second wave that was bigger than the first wave, which was really set to really correct the price. It barely corrected it down to like 215, 220 a box. And then Phantasmal Flames ran up to like almost 300 now. That is kind of, and then also Prismatic Evolutions. Prismatic has been printed into the absolute ground, into oblivion, and bundles are still $75 and ETBs are $145. Even when you had, tons of like, I would say, good sized PokeTubers at this point, all very critical of Prismatic, telling everybody not to buy, telling them it was overpriced, it was going to be printed for years. Even in the midst of all the negativity, seeing how well those products were doing, I knew the Zard UPC was going to do the same thing. And I think pretty much every product is going to do the same thing. I don't think there's Ascended Heroes is not going to crash like people think. I think we're just in too high of a demand market and the product supply is just too limited. I had a call with my distributor. I only have one distributor, guys, so don't take too much, speak too much into this. But, his feelings were, he's like, Alex, it's not getting any better anytime soon, man. Like, I mean, 6 months, 12 months from now, maybe call me. We'll see what's going on. He's like, it's not getting better anytime soon. There's not enough product to go around. We're having a hard time just, when we do get restocks or reprints in, if anything, we have just enough to supply our Pokemon Play Stores, which is that's who they really focus on, make sure they have a little bit. And after that, there's very little if any to go around. He's just like everyone. And he said, everyone is getting less than they've ever gotten. Like no one's getting numbers like they used to get, even our largest spenders. And it's just the way it is. And so I believe him, it just kind of seems like the way it is. You can believe that or not, but it's not getting any better. It's just not. I do not mess with any other languages, Vitor. I don't mess with anything. Japanese, Chinese, Korean. I stick with English. So maybe they are. That's that. You're gonna ask someone else for that. I'm not your guy. What percentage of people in the hobby will dip out once the hype is gone, the easy money to be made is gone, and we enter a more stagnant Pokemon bear market? What's your guess? 25%? Maybe 25%? And then the 75% that are still here, probably 25 or more percent of those people will probably buy much, much less than they normally would and probably really dial back their spending. That'd be my guess. And then the other, 25, 50% that are left will probably keep taking all they can get, and they'll just keep blowing it out, at whatever deal they can get, even if it's very low, if any margins, just to keep their spend high and just to keep, their business rolling or whatever and revenue. And so, yeah, it'll definitely, but again, I don't think we're anywhere near that. Like, I think you're talking years away at this point. Because like me, my distributor, we're talking about my rep, after things do even start to slow down a little bit, there is so many people in line waiting to build up spend. There's so many people in the wait list waiting to get in. There's so many people that understand how the game works, like myself. And there's so many people that are waiting to take the products, waiting to take the crap product they can't move, they can't make any money on, just to keep getting ins with the distributors. I mean, even if we slowed down in 6 months, we'd be like another year away, like another 3-4 releases away until you really exhausted all the people that are willing to build spend. We're a ways away from any type of possible bear market. I mean, you're talking 2027, in my opinion, at least. What's up with the elevator background music? Here, we'll try. These are the free tunes they give us with StreamYard. Let's change it. Let's change it. Let's throw on. How about this one? Much more zen. Much more zen. I like this one. It's just something to break the silence, man. What's your positions right now, Pokemon stuff with rough percent? I don't know. I don't know that. I don't keep percentages of each individual position like that. I couldn't tell you. Let's see. Alex, long time. I think I'm coming back to Pokemon. Marvel been fun, but long time loser. I think Topps has license now. Everyone finds their way back to Pokemon. Everyone finds their way back eventually. What are your thoughts on the sleeper promo Umbreon EX with Prismatic Evolution stamp from surprise boxes? 11% chance of pulling, unlike all the other products of promo. It's definitely got the scarcity and the pull factor and all that, and it is Umbreon. But man, it's just a regular EX with a stamp. I'm sure it'll be okay. I'm not super excited about it. I like to have a little more than just the scarcity and rarity pulling it, but Pokemon Center stamps do crazy things, so there's no reason that thing can't. That's my opinion on it. Yeah, the Super Bowl ad is going to be wild. The fact they're spending money on a Super Bowl ad is just going to add more fuel to the fire. Even people that didn't think about Pokemon in years, they're going to see that and be like, yeah, I remember Pokemon. Let me go see let me go check eBay for my old. It's going to add more fuel to the fire, guys. Pokemon has a way to always do it. They always do it. Lossy says, Alex, thoughts on Mega Evolution block so far? I think so far it's the strongest start to a block ever. I think Scarlet Violet was the strongest start to a block ever. I think Mega Evolutions is now the new strongest start to a block ever. It's only getting better and better as time goes on, guys. Thoughts on Shrouded Fable long term? Dude, I think it could not be Dragon Majesty levels, but man, it could actually do some crazy things. You know, I mean, you could definitely see 100, 200% gains from here if it never gets reprinted and just something happens for some reason, some things in that catch fire in the future, the Persian or whatever. I wouldn't be surprised to see those $200 ETBs one day. No problem at all. Yeah, this is so true. So true. In 2010, look who the top 500 companies were. Who's on the top 500 companies today? It's a different world. If you guys ever want to really freak yourselves out, go look at that. Go look at the history of the S&P 500. If you go look 10, 20 years ago, you barely recognize it. You barely recognize it. And that's what I'm talking about. It's different. Yeah, exactly. The Dow is only 30 stocks. It's not market cap weighted 100%. Like, that's what people have to understand. Like, the Dow is like seen as the end all be all because it's a big one they show all the time. It's the biggest number, but it's not always indicative of the new modern world and like how all the companies that are actually running the world now are doing, in my opinion. Looking at returns for the S&P 500 incorporates survivorship bias, which is to say all the poor performing companies dropped out. There is no survivorship bias in Pokemon. I mean, there's no survivorship bias, but there's no products that you need it on. Like, every boxes went up. Every single one, 100%. You didn't need any to take out to like improve the index, right? Like, if you took an index of every Pokemon box ever created, you crushed the S&P. So like, even with them removing and adding companies every time. If that's what you were getting at, I'm not sure. Maybe I read that wrong. New to the hobby, welcome. I understand that boxes have more past history performance. How do you think a UPC, SPC, ETB will perform versus boxes, display bundles? I think boxes are king. I think there are, and there will be definitely UPCs, SPCs, ETBs that will outperform certain boxes. But kind of like taking the index, like we just talked about, if you take the index as a whole, booster boxes have been the most tried and true over the long term. Because there's been UPCs that haven't performed as well. There's been ETBs that haven't performed. There's been SPCs that haven't. There's been some that have, but I would say more often than not, the booster boxes overall are and also they're usually the most liquid as they age. Like, you know, when items are newer and they're popular, yeah, ETBs, SPCs, UPCs, they're very liquid. Go look at how much like how often a Hidden Fates ultra premium collection sells. Go look at how often a Shining Legends super premium collection sells. A Generations super premium collection sells. Go look at how often some of those old ETBs from XY and Sun and Moon actually sell. Now go look at the sales data for all the boxes. The booster boxes liquidity reigns supreme. And so I'd want to be in items that are more liquid. When you sell your investments, you report it for taxes. Yes, you need to report it. I can't get into taxes. It all depends on how you have things set up. Are you running a business? Are you just an individual and you're claiming, is it gains? Like, it's all different. It depends on how you're doing your accounting styles, what kind of accounting you're using. There are so many different ins and outs of taxes. You got to get a tax advisor on that. I cannot give you any help on that, Red Liger. Not even a single inch of help. Well, unfortunately, I am at the point where all I do is work at this point. So I unfortunately don't really have hobbies anymore. Before the business blew up and everything the way it has, I did mixed martial arts, and I also golfed a lot. And I even, I grew up playing ice hockey my whole life. So I was on, a men's league hockey team where we'd play once a week. So, mostly sports. But now that the business is the way it is, there's just very little time for anything else. So unfortunately, man, you're looking at it. My hobby is right here on camera. What's your Pokemon position? Oh, you already asked this. I don't know. I don't know what the percentages are. What's a better buy in Pokemon compared to BTC? Well, he's asking tall cap, but I'll answer it. So let's mark today, February 6, 2026. I think if you look at February 6, 2027, price of Bitcoin right now compared to price of Bitcoin then, I'd venture a guess that Mega Charizard UPC will likely outperform. I would say that 151 Paldean Fates could outperform. I would say Prismatic Evolutions could outperform. I think there's quite a bit of things you could put your money into that could outperform Bitcoin in the next year. But I could be wrong. We'll wait and see. Especially the fact that if you are diligent with your shopping around and making deals and you're buying in bulk and you can negotiate prices with people down to like 85, 90%, you're already starting out with a built-in 10 to 15% gain. Whereas Bitcoin, you got to buy the market price. You can't do that, right? So it's like with Pokemon, if you're able to get deals, you're able to start ahead of the game. And so I like that about Pokemon. If I ever got big with distributors, would you pass it on to your following like Pokemart USA? I would never own a program like Pokemart USA. I've told Eli multiple times in private. I think we've even talked about it live. I think it's a terrible model. That's just my opinion. Because here's the problem that I don't like with it. When things are bad, it's very hard to get people to sign up and pay you for it because they're going to say things like, I don't need to be a part of that program, right? I can just buy it on the open market from people on eBay or Hills Wholesale Gaming or Safari Zone, and they're the same price. Why would I need distribution? And then when things are really good like they are right now, all you do is have people complain at you every single day because they're not getting as much as they want and blah, blah, blah. And also you're missing out on literally millions of dollars you could make by selling it yourself, right? And so I would rather sell everything myself and make the millions and millions of dollars. I'll just be honest. Because, it's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. People are mad at you either way. And so, because if things are cheap everywhere, they're mad you're charging so much for your program. When everything's expensive, they're mad they can't get enough from you for your program. And so I honestly don't like the model. I like Rudy's model. Rudy's got it down, right? Where he gives people a deal. He's got an easy way to move product to people that, you have way less chance of having any issues happen. He still gets a huge margin on what he makes because he's selling it under market price. So people are getting a deal, but he's not giving it full distribution where he's not making anything. So I like maybe something close to Rudy's model is great, but I don't like the idea of just selling off your allocations for nothing when you could be taking advantage of the market. I don't like that. It's not for me. This is not a time to be passive. Do as Nostalgianomics says. He is actively flipping and selling, not holding. 100% not true. That's 100% not true. So a lot of people like to try to say this because obviously I also run a business and invest. We have a inventory that we use for streams, which is packs, and then obviously boxes for my box night. I have other things like that I'll use as like giveaways or bounties and things. But the majority of my position is held long-term. We have not sold off any of our long-term holdings, booster box cases, specially set ETB and bundle cases, UPCs, etc. And I do not plan on selling anything this year of that. Unless something changes, I'll let you guys know. But yeah, it's a common thing people try to say in the comment sections, and they're 100% wrong. If I'm selling this stuff, where's it being sold? Where's it being sold? Check my eBay, check my TCG player. You can ask around anyone I do business with. Ask anyone if I'm selling anything. The only thing I sell is things on stream, which I'm actively buying inventory for the streams, right? So like you're buying things for the business, right? Anything I buy to put away, not being sold. Not being sold. I'm absolutely still holding. In fact, it's funny. We just did inventory, right? I've actually been a net buyer this year. I have actually been a net buyer, meaning our total business revenue this year so far is negative compared to purchases. We've purchased more this year so far than we've sold. So it's an unfortunate time where the numbers just don't back up the rhetoric, man. I'm sorry. MU runner, I don't have a perfect formula. There's no science behind it. It's more of an art of, I don't have a certain time frame, a certain price point, a certain product. It's really based on feel and what I see in the market. I wish I could give you that. I think that's kind of the secret sauce that, kind of makes everyone do their own thing. I couldn't tell you when and where to do something like that. I'm sorry. Marin, look, I'm not a fan of ETBs unless they're from specialty sets. But it's not that they don't do well. I would just rather be in the box. But you could definitely get in the ETBs if the boxes are too much. I understand that as well. Yes, Sended Heroes is the most expensive pack at release ever. The one before that was Prismatic Evolutions. Looking to buy a house within the next 3 to 5 years. Awesome to hear. Do you think I should start taking profits on my collection now or wait until that time? If it was me, I'd wait, but I can't tell you what to do. Why would I want to sell now and lose out on 3 to 5 years of more of gains if I don't need the money? Like, what are you gonna do with the money? Like, put it in like a money market, a cash account, and basically barely keep up with inflation? Maybe. Like, I don't like that idea. Again, I just told you at the beginning of this video, I feel better having my investments in Pokemon right now than other places. So that's where I'm going to keep them. But I could be completely wrong. Everyone call me an idiot. That's the great part about this. If I'm wrong, everyone can call me an idiot all across the internet and talk about how wrong I was. If I'm right, I won't get any credit at all. People will just, be angry still. But at least it gives a record out there that I'm putting my money where my mouth is. When people think that Pokemon's not good, it's too expensive, other things are crashing, Pokemon's going to crash, I'm putting it out there. I'm not selling. I'm buying more. I'm building larger positions. I truly believe in this stuff long term. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm not telling you guys to do it. It could be wrong. But from all the research and data I can compile, other things seem more volatile. Other things seem more risky. This seems more in control. The fact that, you can make bulk deals and collection buys, and you can buy under market and you get a leg up where I can't do that in other markets. It makes sense to me. I believe in not being too diversified. I think once you reach a certain level of wealth, it's smart to diversify to protect yourself. I think when you're trying to build wealth, I think diversification slows you down. And so I want to be less diversified. I want to be heavier in things that I believe in. And one of those things is Pokemon. So that's what I'm doing. For better or worse, for right or wrong, that's what I'm doing. Oh, you're saying that S&P returns are artificially high. If you include all the company that didn't make it, returns would be far lower. Pokemon incorporates all sets. The returns are true. 100%. Also, a lot of people never want to mention the lost decade, right? Like they don't want to talk about when the S&P from the year of 2000 to 2012 did not make a dime. The S&P did not break its high price in 2000 until 2012 is when it finally broke above it. Like you didn't make returns in the S&P for that many years, unless you bought on the way up, way down, way up, way down. Obviously you had dividends, paying you. So you made a little bit, but you had no return on the actual index for like 10 years, over 10 years. Just saying. That did happen. Doesn't mean it can't happen again because it did happen. The fact that something did happen means it could happen again. Maybe it's not 10 years. Maybe it's 5 years. 5 years, no returns? That wouldn't be good. How much does a rip in the plastic matter? It matters. It's probably at least 5%, maybe 10% off. It matters. I usually recommend to sell those early and take the hit while things are still low, get a clean one, pay a little extra. That way, when things rise, you're not taking a 5-10% hit on the higher amount. So if you have an ETB, it's $100. You take a 5-10% hit. So you take $5-10 off. That's a lot better than it being $500. And you got to take 5-10% off of $500, $25 to $50 off, or $1,000, $50 to $100 off. So I always recommend getting out of those things early, getting into clean ones. Got to have hobbies or you'll burn out. I know from experience. I understand that, but I also know that opportunities in life only come around, to people every here and there. And you also don't want to miss out on opportunities, right? I think a lot of people squander opportunities by, using terms like work-life balance or things like I need time off. I need hobby. I need to do this with my friends. I need to take a vacation. And it's like, maybe some people do, things, but in my opinion is I would feel worse squandering opportunities that present themselves and looking back and regretting it than I would saying, oh, I need to be able to play golf every week. I need to be able to go, train martial arts or play hockey 2 times a week. Like I just think there's seasons in life. And I think right now, because of how popular everything is, I think it makes more sense to dedicate the time to the business. And then there'll be time later in life to dedicate to other things. And I think it'll pay dividends, when you're younger, putting in the work, than having to put in the work when you're older. So that's just the way I'm, doing it. But I understand for other people, I might not. And here's the thing, other people have different goals. Like, guys, I talk to people in this hobby all the time that like, they don't have really goals of retirement. Like they truly just like working or truly like whatever lifestyle they have. And they just plan on doing that until they're 60, 70 years old. And there's other people that like myself that I truly am looking to get to financial independence where I can choose to work or not to work. And maybe I, don't want to work sometimes. And maybe, I don't want to take a week's vacation. I want to take a month and a half vacation, right? Or, I don't want to be on a time frame or have responsibilities. And so, other people have, 5 kids and they're always going to have responsibilities for the next 18 years, right? Other people, are married, aren't married. It's like, there's so many different circumstances. And I think everyone's circumstances is different. So Pokemon Dennis, man, if you've reached that point of almost reaching burnout, I get it. I'm unfortunately not there yet. And so I truly think it's the right thing to take advantage of the opportunities when they're there. And so that's what I'm doing. But I get it both ways. Everyone's situation is different. If I put it this way, if me and my wife had kids, if we had kids and they were like, growing up, I would want, I talked with Dan, Catch 'em All Collectibles, about this, how he, took some steps back to spend more time with his kids. I do the same thing. I would do the exact same thing. If I had kids, I would definitely make sure I was getting time for them. The fact that we don't, though, it's like, I don't need to catch up on all the shows, right? Like I don't need to see my buddies every week and play hockey. I don't need to be in the best shape of my life and be training, martial arts all the time. Like I can forego some things and, just kind of eat healthy, stay relatively, hit the gym every day, stay in shape. I'll see my friends, a couple weekends a month. Like, I can get by doing that to take advantage of the opportunities type thing. What advice would I give to my younger self starting out? Very, very simple. Don't overestimate the upside, or don't underestimate the upside. Don't underestimate the upside. And if you don't need the money, don't sell. That's what I would tell myself is things can always go higher than what you predict they can. And if you don't need the money, there's not a reason to sell. Just because something went from $100 to $500 does not mean you need to sell. What are you going to use the money for? Just to have it in the bank to sit there and look pretty and have bigger number in account? Those would be the main pieces of advice. Like we talked about earlier, someone said, it's like, I'm just like everybody else. I wish I would have bought more. I wish I would have held longer. I think everyone says the same thing in this hobby. Here we go. Would you consider ever doing a live with the Pokemon Plumber again? Absolutely not. You guys were great duo. You two have multiple PokeTube friends. Squash the silliness. Make this happen. It's not silliness, right? It's not silliness. There's a few things in life I'm pretty serious about. And the one thing is like loyalty to friends. Someone that's not loyal to their friends is someone like, a really good scene. If you guys, everyone knows like, Fast and Furious, if you go back to Tokyo Drift, I was just talking to a friend of mine about this the other day. Like when Han is staring over the city and he's saying, money I got, I need people with trust and character around me, right? That's how I am. I only want people with good character that are loyal, that you can trust around me. When someone breaks that, there's no coming back, right? There's no like moving on. And that's why it'll just never happen. So that's all there is to it. I don't think there's an example where Paldea could crash to 140 a box. No. Tobias, appreciate the love from Germany. I think those days are gone. Like if you're asking like a brand new set, if like a Mega Evolution could possibly crash to 140. Yeah, possibly. Paldea, it's literally a couple months away from being out of print. For it to go from 400 to out of when they can't even keep up with printing Ascended Heroes on time, I would put that at 0.000 a million zeros to one. That could happen at this point. No, maybe with a new set though, for sure. That's still in print for years. Absolutely. Not with Paldea. I have sold on Probstein. How do I like it? It went fine. Send it there. They always got my order. Always checked it in. All the prices I always got for my items, good. No issues. Them getting the payouts. Not that you won't get your money. It just takes a long time. If you don't get it, you gotta constantly keep emailing them, keep up with them. That's the only bad part about Probstein is you got to kind of keep up with it and keep, pressure them to get your payouts quicker because they are a little slow to pay out. That would be my only critique of Probstein. What do I see myself doing when I can achieve complete financial independence? Definitely golf more. Maybe play some pickup hockey again. Definitely do some MMA and, train with guys. I always like being involved in success. So I'd love to, train, hopefully I'm still young enough and I can get in shape good enough to help train guys that are getting ready for fights and trying to move up the ranks. Cause I always want to be a part of, anything I can that helps people kind of get to that next level and reach these levels of success. So I'm always excited about that. And just hang out with my wife more, Me and my wife have one of those, like, I guess, weird relationships when you talk about society. Me and my friend that works with me, we always talk about it. Like, the stigma is always like, I don't know. It's like husbands and wives are always at each other's throats or something, or it's always like, oh, I couldn't get away with that. I can't do that. It's like, dude, me and my wife are actually best friends. Like we don't ever really fight. We like most all the same things. We do things together, like with our friends. It's not like we have our own groups of friends. We always like are separated. Like we're always together. So it's really a lot of hanging out with my wife a lot more and doing more of the things we want to together. And like I said, we don't have kids, so there's not a lot, the two biggest things that really cause a lot of strife in relationships is usually disagreements on kids, like raising kids and, all the stresses that causes, and finances. Once you kind of have those two under control, I don't really know what a lot of couples fight about, to be honest with you, unless there's like infidelity and that stuff. But like, I don't get it. I don't understand why everyone's always like talking about that. Like all these, me and my wife have a great relationship. And I just look forward to being able to spend more time with her when we're not working so much. I'm still holding Destin Rivals, but I got literally 2 cases. So it's not really saying much. I don't know. I mean, I'm just going to hold them. I don't care. Goes up, goes down. I'd like to get more. I'm not buying more at these levels, if that makes sense. But I'm not selling, and it's only because I have 2 cases. If I had like 20 cases of Destin Rivals, I'd probably be selling half of them. I'd probably be locking in gains on half. But because I have so little, it just doesn't even make sense. Because for the crazy, for the fact that it's a possibility they somehow, some way don't have a major booster box reprint or a case reprint. Maybe they reprint them and put them in like GameStops or freaking, vending machines. I don't want to end up with no cases. So I'd rather keep them and just worry about that later and maybe be able to get more than not have any at all. Mario, everything I have is LLC. Yes. Yeah, me and Dan definitely butt heads on the whole stock market investing. What's funny, when I questioned Dan on stream, he admitted, I said, if you would have foregone all of your other investments, even including the tax advantage accounts, the money you saved on taxes, the dividends, all that stuff, compounding growth, do you think you'd be richer of putting all your money in Pokemon or keeping what you did? Even he admits he would have been better off putting all his money in Pokemon. So I don't think it's really anything that we disagree on. I think Dan just values stability. He values, a level of safety, a level of diversification. But even he knows he would have done better going all in on Pokemon. And if I was, again, Dan's ahead of me, right? Dan's ahead of me. He's been active and running a successful business and putting, he's had, income to put into Pokemon. He's been doing that for much more years than me. Right. And so his net worth's higher than mine, all those things. Hold on, let me turn my phone off. I just heard it going off. And so because of that, like I said before, once you reach a level of wealth, you want to start protecting it, diversifying. So for him, it makes a lot more sense. For me, I'm still trying to build. Once I do build a level of wealth I'm comfortable with, I will 100% find, more ways to diversify out. But, no, I think even with tax advantage accounts and dividends being reinvested, compounding interest, a lot of the Pokemon investments over the last 5 years for me have outperformed even that. I've actually done videos on it. Like they've even outperformed those. So that's my feeling on it. Nothing against Dan. I mean, everything he's doing is great. I guess I'm more of a risk taker. I'm trying to sprint to the finish line more than kind of run the marathon. And Dan's another person too, where I think he is more comfortable I think he's even said it before. Like he's more comfortable working, like kind of, he said he'll like always be doing something. Like he said for the next, whatever, 20, 30 years, he's always going to be doing something. Like even if it's 20 hours a week, where I'm much more wanting to eventually get to like retirement quicker type thing. Run, eat, pray, buy 10K of Evolving Skies or Prismatic Bundles or 151. Oh, gosh. I don't think any of them are bad. I like Prismatic, dude. I think 151 and Evolving Skies is a safer bet right now. I like Prismatic at the price point. I like Prismatic. I think it's got a major run in it. Yeah, of course I'd consider having Poke Oz on the channel. I think we spoke at one point back in the day when we both were a lot smaller. I think it was Poke Oz, and we were going to try to put it together, but the time differences, we can never make it work. But no, I would definitely have Poke Oz on if he would want to come on. The right investment is always the one you know best. Pierre, what is up, dude? Appreciate you stopping by the stream, man. Fernando's in the house. Happy Friday, dude. We're in uncharted territory. What's to say Pokemon doesn't reprint this whole block? We don't know. We don't. Well, we will know in 3 months. When the first block goes out of rotation, we'll know that Scarlet Violet, at least the first block, won't be getting reprints. 2 months now, I guess. 2 months away from, oh man, it's going to be a fun day. We're going to have a party stream. It never went to MSRP stream. What product do you break down for packs for rip and ships? Anything. Collection boxes, tins, mini tins, poster collections, binder collections, check lane blisters, 3-pack blisters, tech stickers, sometimes booster boxes, especially when sets are new, booster boxes, ETBs, anything, literally anything that I can get the best price per pack on. Also, do you invest without going into debt? Yeah, I'm 100% zero leveraged. I use credit cards for all of my purchases. Well, anytime I buy collections and things from people like privately, those are all done through PayPal transactions, so friends and family. Anything I buy from anytime I can use a credit card, eBay, TCG Player, card shops, anything like that, I'll use a credit card and then I'll pay the credit card off, usually before the bill even comes, just for the safety of the transaction, because I don't want to use a debit card or my account. So I just use it for that and the points, obviously. A 2% cash back, baby. But no, I've never carried this is kind of crazy. I've never carried a balance on a credit card since I was 18 years old. Never once in my life. I've never once paid a dime of interest to any credit card. And I've had dozens of credit cards throughout my life. Some people can handle it. Some can't. I'm, one of those people I guess can. I always pay them off before the bills due. Never carried dime interest and got countless points over the years because it just makes more sense to use a credit card and it's safer. So, but give an example if you're new to investing. So when I was new, I didn't have tons of income to invest. I had some, but I did a lot of flipping, a lot of collection buyouts, break them down, resell them, keep some of the things out of the collection, right? So you buy a big collection that's like, $500. You keep a few things for yourself. You resell the rest. You profit, $550. So now you got $50 extra and your money back. You keep snowballing that, keeping a little bit for yourself, buying some stuff with the profits, and you can just kind of snowball it that way. A lot more work, takes a lot longer, but it's kind of what you got to do when you don't have the capital. And everyone has to go through that stage. I went through it for years. And so that's how I started really building positions, is just the grind, searching for deals, reselling. if you're buying collection 85%, is it really a leg up if you're expected to discount the same 85% when you sell? Well, no, you don't have to discount 85% when you sell. Especially if you have, $1,000 plus items, send it to a consignment service, send it to Probe Scene, send it to DC Sports. They only charge you 5%, 4% fees if it's over $1,000, and they usually get full market price. So you can buy for 85, you're getting 95, 96% back. Not bad. 10% up. How often do I train? I just told you, like, never now. It used to be like, well, when I was fighting, it was every day except Sunday. But just as early as a few years ago, I would still train like 3 times a week. I would try to get there twice in the week, and then on Saturday we'd have free roll. Yeah, nowadays it's just I get to the gym and weight lift. That's about all I do these days, unfortunately. 3 times a week's good. I'm setting my eBay business up too. Hit 100K last year, 30K on my actual job. I never want to retire. Love what I do. See, that's what I'm saying. People like you, man, you got the world at your feet. If you love what you do and you have no, dude, you're good. Like, you'll never, what they say, you'll never work a day in your life. That's awesome, right? Love to hear it. Wife and I have a 5-year plan laid out to retire. Goal is to retire by the time we're 40. Dude. G-Mac, I hope you hit that, man. Make sure you come back and let me know if you do. That'd be amazing, brother. Good luck to you, man. That's awesome. Love hearing stuff like that. What Pokemon games did I play? All of them. Red, Blue, Yellow, Silver, Gold, Crystal, Ruby, Sapphire, Fire Red, Leaf Green, the Pokemon trading card game, Stadium 2, Pokemon Snap, Pokemon Coliseum for GameCube. That game was awesome. That's kind of around the time we stopped. I stopped, kind of got out of it. It was Coliseum, Fire Red, Leaf Green time. That was kind of when I got out of the hobby back then. All great games. Again, another thing I'd like to have time to play again is all those. Alex would make his kids mow lawns for $2 an hour, child labor tax. No, I'd be one of those. I'd probably be a bad parent, because I'd be one of those people that wouldn't want my kids to have to go through any of the struggles that I've had to. And so I'd probably not make them do a lot of stuff, which would probably not be the best for them, because I'm like, man, I don't want to have kids and make them go through everything I had to go through growing up and all the struggles and strife I've had to deal with. I don't want I don't know. You love your kid. I would love my kid. I wouldn't want him to have to do all that. But, I know a lot of people say that's, those are the ones that turn out the worst. So maybe that's why I'm not a parent, because maybe I couldn't make the right decisions. I don't know. I think being a parent's a hard job, trying to decipher between, how hard to be, how not hard to be, what to let them go through, what not to. I don't know. Do I regret selling my Team Up box? No, because I used the funds to pay off my house, and having a paid off house brings me more peace and ease than the gains I would have made on the Team Up box. So no, I'm completely at peace with that. Is having a YouTube more profitable than collecting sealed Pokemon? No, absolutely not. YouTube revenue, now maybe for someone like PokeRev it is. Like, once you start getting up to those 1 million subscribers and hundreds of thousands of views, then I would say a YouTube channel definitely is. When you're, the size of me or whatever, no, you're not getting rich on YouTube revenue. I'll tell you that right now. Sorry to burst your bubble. If you want to be a YouTuber, it's not that level till you get up to those crazy numbers. Oh, forgiveness for sure. And I have forgiven him, but it still doesn't mean you try. I wouldn't like trust somebody. I wouldn't trust someone like with information, or would trust someone to like not do it again. Like, it's like, hey man, I wish I got nothing but love, and like, I hope everything goes great for the dude. I wish nothing but the best. At the same time, I can't bring someone like that back into my circle. You know, it just doesn't, can't trust someone. You can't move forward. It's all this. No hate though. No hate. Alexnomics here to support. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, Pika Pika. What's the goal for the YouTube channel? Dude, I would love to grow it to 100,000 to get one of those play buttons. That'd be really cool. That's really the only goal, man. The goal is what's happening right now. All the people that have been helped and doing better in the hobby because they found the channel and they've put a lot of things I've done in practice themselves. And man, I get messages all the time, people telling me about all the success stories and, you know, paying off houses and buying, you know, cars or vacations or being so much better financially off because of taking, you know, the leap. And I think the channel's helped a lot of people. I really do. And I feel good about that. And that's really all the channel was built to do, is to show the possibilities of possible with Pokemon. And yeah, man, it would be really cool to get to 100K though eventually and get that play button. That'd be kind of like tells you, hey, you're actually a YouTuber. I don't really have any big goals though for it. True. I get what you're saying. I did 80 hours a week for a bunch of years and 7 months of 7-day weeks. I got to where I wanted now, taking time. That's all. See, there you go, man. Put in the work, got to where you wanted, taking time for yourself. That's what it's all about. Love it. Enjoy the fruits of your labor, my man. You deserve it. You deserve it. You put in the work, you deserve it. Biggest mistake I made early on. Here's the problem, guys. And I hate talking about these because it almost sounds like it not genuine, or not like, because like I've never made any big mistakes where I've lost money, right? Like I just never lost money really in this hobby. The biggest mistakes I've made are things I didn't do. Back in 17, 18, me and a friend of mine were really talking about like making a run at this full time, and like, you know, getting a business, getting distribution, and we just never, you know, both of us had good jobs. I was running my lawn care landscaping business. He had a good job. We both were married, and we just both didn't want to take the risk, you know, to go for it. And if we would have done that, we would have had distribution accounts built up when COVID happened. We'd have been huge now, having crazy distribution accounts, and it would have been a completely different life. We would have just took that leap. And that's probably the biggest regret that I have, is not going for it back then. Just because you're afraid. You're just afraid, you know. What people, you know, it's so much easier to go for things when you got nothing to lose. But it's like, man, I had just built a brand new house at that time. I had just built this house. You know, me and my wife designed it from you know, ground up. And I had a successful lawn care landscaping business, and we were doing well. And you know, he was doing well. He had a brand new house built, and we're just like, dude, this is crazy, right? We can't do. We both decided, yeah, we can't take that risk. You know, it's just not. But yeah, we saw it coming, and we both made money on investing in it, but it just could have been a lot bigger, a lot bigger. Uh-oh, Dan's in the chat. Hold on, let me scroll down. Bitcoin isn't even down to MSRP. Has a long way to go. I'm gonna wait. MSRP. Guys, you know what's funny? And I don't want to make fun. I'm not gonna say who it was, because it was just a random commenter. But dude, I felt so bad for him. He literally said that he's pissed off that people are selling these cards above MSRP. The cards. Everyone knows Pokemon doesn't sell cards. They sell products with cards in them. There is literally no MSRP for a card. And people, the dude was complaining that the cards were over MSRP. It's just like, that's the level of MSRP gang we got to at one point. It was just like, dude, you got to get a handle on this MSRP stuff. Oh, man. Anyways, guys, we're going to call it there. I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out this afternoon. Hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Hope everyone has a great Super Bowl Sunday, baby. Super Bowl Sunday coming up. I know what the Olympics are starting or whatever. This is all kinds of stuff going on. If you guys are bored tonight, stop right by the stream, guys. No pressure to jump in the breaks. You don't got to buy nothing. Just come by and hang out. We stream tonight, 7 p.m. Central. We'll be doing pack rips. We got Ascended Heroes in stock. Just come by and hang out and watch the packs get ripped. Watch another God pack. It's always a good time. We can talk in the chat. It's always fun. Hopefully you guys can make it. It'll be a 7 tonight. Other than that, man, hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Thanks for showing up. Wish everyone the best as always, and I'll see you guys back here in the next one. We are out. Go America, Dan. Go America. We're out, guys. Later.